You bet it does. Welcome into Thursday's edition of The Big Show on your Total Sports Station. KTGR, Andy Humphrey, Brenden Schaefer here. We've got some over-unders for this big Chiefs-Texans game that's coming up on Sunday night. Chiefs need it. Can they get the stats in their favor to get it? Oh, boy.
I am not convinced that they can, given some of the limitations they may be facing here, but we'll get into it because, like you said, they got to have it.
And they're going to have to do it, it seems, with two new left tackles. Like that seems to be the plan for this weekend. So we'll get to that. We'll get to Play Fade Eliminate at 5:25. We'll have some thoughts on what Mizzou needs out of the transfer portal for this offseason. This could be an interesting one. Portal's obviously moved. There's revenue sharing. Eli Drinkwitz indicated that will affect the portal and mean that there will be more players in this portal than ever before. We'll hear a little bit of what he had to say about it yesterday here at 4:05. So be tuned in for that. And also be tuned in for the chaos scenarios in the college football playoff. If James Madison loses and Duke wins, Brenden, who would get the last spot?
I think we know, but if this is just a total reality TV made for, the entertainment value, then maybe we don't know for sure yet. And I honestly can't put that possibility past this committee. So we'll have to crunch the numbers, I think.
It'll be very interesting. Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR. Tweet us at KTGR Big Show. You can also see us live on YouTube, youtube.com/@KTGR Sports. Also on Facebook, facebook.com/KTGR Big Show.
Now, the Big Show's Big Deal.
So after the Chiefs put Josh Simmons on IR yesterday, and now it's back-to-back days of no Trey Smith and no Jawan Taylor at practice. It seems to be lining up for the Chiefs to have three offensive line starters missing as they take on the Texans and their very stingy pass rush coming up on Sunday night. Chiefs seem to indicate today that it would be Wanye Morris at left tackle and Jalen Moore at right tackle for the Chiefs. Mike Caliendo as the right guard replacement for Trey Smith. Chiefs need this win to avoid dipping under 500 once again this season. They're 2 games back in the AFC wild card race. It's a 7:20 kickoff from Arrowhead Stadium on Sunday night as the Chiefs take on the Houston Texans. And that is the Big Show's Big Deal on this 4th day of December 2025. You can call or text us here at 573-875-KTGR. So yesterday, we talked a little bit about what Eli Drinkwitz said on signing day, which was more about, I think, big picture, how they view recruiting and kind of know what the deal is now at Mizzou with how they handle it. That, look, they're still going to recruit high school players, but in the grand scheme of things, they need to, for both high school and transfer portal, get as many guys as possible that they think can help them right away. And we'll see what happens with the high school class. It's hard to predict who that will be. But now, as we get closer to the transfer portal period, it's a little bit easier to know what is out there for Mizzou to help improve their team right away for 2026. And so we'll see what happens there. But Eli Drinkwitz, here is how he kind of viewed the transfer portal and what Mizzou could potentially get out of it this year as he spoke yesterday on National Signing Day.
Yeah, so, based off of what we have here, then we have a couple of positions that we've already targeted, said, okay, we want to take a couple of corners, a couple of players. Yikes. Cut. We want to take a couple of players at this position and maybe a couple of players at this position that we already know is going to have, people graduating and whatnot. And then the rest of that will be based off of the attrition, right? Our ability or inability to sign or re-sign players. We have quite a few guys on multi-year contracts already, so we've been ahead of that game. But we do have some guys who have NFL decisions that they got to make as underclassmen. And we have guys that aren't on 2-year contracts that have to make decisions on what their future looks like here. And if that means that they go to the portal, then we'll have to replace them in the portal. So I don't really have a firm number for you on that. And whatever it'll be.
All right, so cornerback
sounds like
probably
slip of the tongue there
Yeah.
to show what's really going on in his mind. I think that's a position you'll need, right? You're losing players in the secondary, so I don't think that's any breaking news there. But that was definitely a funny moment.
Like, oh no,
that came from the presser. Yeah,
immediately came over him. I said corners instead of players.
Him just got like the pause and then him saying cut. That was pretty good.
That's great.
That was good stuff.
It was very good. Very well done. And look, it's not a secret. I mean, looking at the depth chart, Toriano Pride leaving, Stephen Hall leaving.
Yeah, he was a 1 year. Yeah.
I think Eli Drinkwitz even made a joke. We thought he had multiple years, but apparently he only had one.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, something like that. But
it's funny, like behind the scenes, I'm sure some of that does happen with certain players where like we may never really fully learn of the winding road that they get to determine eligibility, but it has to be a puzzle with just about every player at this point because the rules are so inconsistent and made up and everybody's got different circumstances. But yeah, the corner, that's a position they were going to need anyway. So it makes sense.
So, I mean, you see the attrition there due to graduation, and maybe some of the other spots could be due to who you end up losing in the transfer portal. I think any year you go to the trenches, right? Every single year you have to bring some depth. And look, Mizzou's going to lose probably Caden Green, like probably going to the NFL. Does he have another year potentially? I think he might.
Who?
Caden Green.
I mean,
that
if he wanted to, but like you said, I think he would be going to the NFL, right?
I think that's the main path for him. Trost is out of eligibility.
I think that's right.
And then Tollison, obviously, this was his last year. So at least 3 guys you'd have to think are probably going to be replaced on the offensive line. So you just got to, I think that's something you got to cycle through almost every year, regardless of your situation. Defensive line, tackle, definitely. Edge, you could find a really good upside guy, but there are a good amount of players in this room that you like, I think.
Who's coming back there, though? Because, like,
Darius
again,
Smith.
We say all of this, though, not knowing who's going to transfer out. And if it's a player that Drinkwitz believes he can look that player in the eye and say, look, you're part of our plans. I think Drink historically has done a good job of mostly keeping those types of players. But, you've got to do it all over again. Every single year is free agency. So even with that, you're losing like Damon Wilson and Zion Young. It's a next man up every single year. But certainly I think you'll be looking to fill a lot of production there. So even if you like some of the guys in the room, you can't go and not pursue that position because you could get closer to transfer portal opening up and find out that one of those or more is going to leave,
Well, sure. But now's the time where they'll start to find out, like, okay,
exactly.
who is still with us. And then that might dictate. So like depending if everybody, which it's hard to assume that everybody in that room stays, but if they do, I feel like Mizzou's got a pretty good lineup when it comes to that.
They got names we like, but I don't know about production until we get a little bit
Darius
deeper.
Smith had a very good role for himself, I think, this year, and maybe they like him going back to the defensive end spot. Dayton Hopkins played some pretty key snaps. Nate Johnson played a lot. Langdon Kitchen played a lot. We love Javion Hilson, obviously. So like he's got to get an opportunity at some point.
That's
if we love
the thing,
him.
though. Like, right, we want that to be the case, and we have these expectations or these thoughts about players coming into a season. But like, I'm thinking back to when Hilson signed, it was like, hey, is that going to be a player that as a true freshman? Because before we looked at the true freshmen from the previous class and we're like, yeah, across the board, they didn't really have roles. Like William Soneri, it was Kawan Lacey, and obviously in some cases those players are really good, but then, they end up finding out about it elsewhere. Who's to say with Hilson what the status is? But I think the kind of the delta on these types of players who we haven't really seen, but they had a pedigree coming out of high school is extremely wide, from like could be a starter next year to they could ask a player to pursue other options because they didn't like what they saw. I'm not
Right.
speaking to Hilson specifically. I'm just saying a player in that position, we have truly no idea what the staff might think of that player. All we do know is that they didn't play this year. In some cases, that means that they're not a guy. In other cases, like Quan Lacey didn't play much last year. He's the second best running back in the conference. So, like,
right.
we have no clue necessarily, but they do internally. I'm sure they look at these players and say, all right, we know which ones are kind of going, yeah, if he leaves, that's maybe best for his future because he's probably not on the 2 deep. Whereas there are some guys who go, no, I don't want you to go because we're gonna find a spot for you next year. We just had a loaded room and 2 guys are going to the NFL from the edge rushers. Like, that's going to be what they have to piece together.
It'll be interesting how they feel about those particular players that have a lot of that upside and whether they want to pave the way for them or not. You could say a little bit about the D tackle room, but I just think they're losing a lot more snaps there. And so it's probably more of a necessity that you at least bring in one guy that can gobble up a lot of that production or a lot of that time out there and see if you can get it done. Is there a need for quarterback?
Well, I mean, there's a need to improve at quarterback.
Right.
The way you go about doing that is going to be a decision that Eli Drinkwitz is going to have to make, and that is, again, I would say that the factors at play here are not just production, but the salary that Bo Pribula would earn if he stays, the salary that Matt Zollers would earn if he stays, the salary you're paying your offensive coordinator, because you may decide, actually, that's the department that we need to make the change in. I'm not predicting that, but you would have to say, well, if this guy is not going to take an OC job elsewhere, but we're looking to maybe reorganize that position, we have to buy somebody out. It's not the same pool of money as the NIL money, but it's all kind of comes down to the cash, doesn't it? And I would wonder how Eli Drinkwitz really in his heart of hearts views it. He knows the offense was not as productive as it needed to be this year. He knows that it was the passing game and at times the creativity of it that he called out to not really have it consistently enough, or at least to not execute it consistently enough. I think he knows what went wrong. The answer on how you want to go about fixing it within your budget is a very, very interesting conundrum, because you mentioned the offensive line. You're going to lose your center and probably both tackles. And Caden Green, yeah, he's draft eligible. I would imagine that he would go, right?
Right.
If you're losing 60% of that offensive line, and I would say or more, because you don't even know about the various guys that could decide to depart in various capacities. Do you put more NIL budget into that rather than trying to chase the QB position? Because what if Bo Pribula, and like there's reports out that he's, Penn State should get him back because he would love to play. Maybe that happens. Maybe it happens on
I think
Penn
they need
State's
a coach first, but like
they need a lot of things.
Right,
and that's why there's so many unknowns here. And we'll talk openly about it. It's not me saying I'm trying to run Bo Pribula out of town, but these are the kinds of conversations that you have to go, all right, where do we allocate these resources? Because there's one realm in which Bo Pribula decides to leave because somebody else giving him a bag of money. And you go, okay, maybe we're out from under whatever obligation financially we would have been to Bo. Or that's not the circumstance. He wants to come back and compete for the job. But you're going, man, that's a hefty price tag that we agreed to pay him. And now do we have to buy him out if we did want to move on, or if we did want to tell him, hey, man, Zollers is going to be our starter. We're committing to that ahead of time. No competition. Like, I don't imagine a world where they would say that. But Zollers is getting paid NIL too. And so to keep them both, to keep one or the other, to scrap the whole thing and chase an expensive transfer, go get your Fernando Mendoza that you didn't get last year. Like, there are so many different ways that it could go, Andy, that you could probably come up with 10 different permutations, and any one of them could be as relevant or as correct as another. What do you want them to do? Because I could see it a bunch of different ways, man. Like, maybe Bo Pribula or Matt Zollers is good enough if you really give them the consistency on the line. But we're just talking about a lineman going to the pros, and maybe Trost even has some opportunities. He played damn good this year. So I don't know that their line was really the issue with the quarterback play this year. Like, they did an okay job. There were a couple games where it was shaky. Yeah. But a lot of times it really wasn't about line play this time when we talk about QB deficiencies.
No, there was a shortfall, I think, in the quarterback play in some games, in the offensive line in some games, in the play calling in some games, like whatever it must have been. Like, take your pick.
So what can you pay to fix? I mean, what do you want to fix first?
I mean, look, it's almost like given that you have to pay O-line and devote a good, healthy amount of resources for that, so that you can have a baseline level of competency for what you need in the SEC.
Can I ask a scary question?
What?
Because we know that there's no unlimited resources here. When you're building an offense, you're building a roster, but specific to the offense right now, you might have to pick and choose where you prioritize some positions over another. I am of the belief that Missouri had 2 of the best 5 running backs in the conference this past season.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be able to retain both of them and fix the other things that they need? Or do you? Is there a world in which
I think they should?
I don't want to see either of those guys go.
Right.
But is there a world in which you go, hey, Marquise Davis, you're the next man up because we need to, instead of paying 2 running backs, we got to pay 1 on that level, and then we have to go and get an offensive tackle? Like, I don't know the answer to that question. It scares me to ask it because I want to see Hardy and Roberts do exactly the same thing again. But I think about it, if I'm Roberts, I'm like, I could probably be a starter at any of these other SEC schools. So I don't know what that's good. Maybe he just loves it at Missouri. I think he does.
I think he does.
But there are so many questions that you cannot possibly. There's going to be some twists and turns. There's going to be a guy that enters the portal where you go, whoa, didn't see that coming. And then there are some where you thought maybe it might make sense that they would leave, and then they're back and you're excited about it. But that's just kind of, I'm bracing. I'm talking through it as I brace myself for what is going to be a wild portal that Eli Drinkwitz alluded to and said, look, there are guys that think they're getting this and they're being made these promises about, you can use this as leverage, and it may not actually play out that way because the rules aren't the same this year as they were last year when everybody was trying to get in ahead of the deadline. It's going to be a different set of circumstances, and like how players react to that across the country is going to be an interesting dynamic. Teams know what they have to do, but the players are going to have to make those adjustments as well. I'm not saying don't pay these guys, but I think the contracts and the salaries are not quite going to be what they were,
Right. And what we're not privy to is like how much those salaries are for each player, and also who has multi-year contracts and who doesn't.
Already.
We don't know. Yep. And can they get out of them if it's a multi-year? We don't know. Like,
Drink has
really
talked
don't
about
know
that, though. I mean, he's been asked, and he said, "Yeah, there's a buyout. There's language in all of these. We just don't know the details of the individual contracts." To your point, of who's got multiple years. But I do believe that that's probably a strategy that Drink implemented last offseason. I think they, and I don't know if we know the NIL spend specifically of what it was, but remember right before that July 1st deadline, I believe that was the deadline where a lot of money went out to kind of get out in front of it.
Yeah.
And so I do wonder how much there was language in some of those that included the multi-year, because I think Drink, as everybody has had to do, kind of learned as he went and said, oh man, we got burned on that Williams-Nwaneri stuff. Like we got the clout for it, for like flipping and having a great rated recruited class, but then, we didn't get a chance to develop this kid. And so I bet the way that they've since done it has taken what happened with Lacey and with Nwaneri. I think they took that into account in the contracts they've probably doled out since, if I had to guess, which is appropriate to have done.
Yeah.
But to your point, we won't really know the impacts of that until we're kind of through the portal and going, oh yeah, those guys all stayed. We thought they might be poached, but maybe the reality was they weren't going to be because the contract dictated that they couldn't be. I don't know.
It's a lot of unknowns with the process. Mizzou's staff, I'm sure, more privy to it than anyone else. And sometimes you just have to give them the benefit of the doubt. They know exactly what the budget's going to be. And and Drink has put together a team to manage all of this, has a cap strategist now, that guy from the Broncos that came in the offseason, and like the every True Tiger Brands guy, Brad Larondo. And I mean, there's just a lot of people in place that it seems that Mizzou should know exactly what they need and should be able to execute a sound enough plan for this portal period. It's just very interesting as to what that will mean for who they go out and get, or who they pursue even. Like, we just need to know who they're pursuing to know exactly what their strategy is going to be.
And there are going to be so many aspects of that happen in the dark, where they start out the offseason looking to do XYZ, and then they accomplish a couple of those things, but something over here was a fork in the road, but they addressed it by doing this, and like chain reaction types of moves. It's free agency. It's the trade market in some ways, because you're not actually trading players, but a guy goes here and then the spot opens up. And, we saw that with Tennessee and UCLA this last year with their quarterbacks. Like, stuff happens that's crazy. I think your point is a good one, where you say, we're not going to know all of it. And we kind of just have to trust that we'll react to individual moves, but you almost have to take them all with a grain of salt until you see the final picture, because there will be reasons that certain things happen that some of them you're not going to have anticipated, and others maybe you're fine with, but like the way that ends up coalescing is going to be interesting to see. And we may not know until it's all said and done.
875 KTGR. Who do you want to see the Tigers go and get in the portal? Daniel says, I agree with Drink. Definitely need a corner in that room. In fact, Ty Goodwill is going to enter the portal reportedly. He knows Batoon well. He's from South Alabama. Yeah, I mean, you'll always comb those connections and see whether you can get guys in. And they've gotten guys.
This is the fun part.
Yeah. Khalil Jacobs came from South Alabama, and that worked out well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. Absolutely.
So, I mean, you got that. James saying, need a new offensive coordinator and definitely need to look in the portal for a quarterback who can pass. See, I don't know if it's definite because
I don't think they do. I don't think both happen. I think they might do one or the other.
Yeah.
But I think you start changing it all. I think you're going to diagnose, like, what do we ascertain was the main issue? Was it the play calling or was it the personnel? And maybe we're going to fix one of the two.
I think that's about it. Yeah.
Look, if they want to blow it up, then that's their prerogative. But I just don't know how feasible that is to do in one off season when you've got a whole defense to replace. Like, I do think of it in terms of salary and payroll, because that's what it is.
Well, and especially in because your run game is great. Like, you don't need to blow up your offense. You need to look very closely at your passing game in particular. Now, that could require a bit of blowing up, but it's not the whole offense, and you still need to have a certain philosophy. And I'm not saying that to a defense of they need to keep Kirby Moore around, because I think that's more of a Drinkwitz thing than anything else.
Yeah.
Drinkwitz has to now see, if he thinks that there needs to be a coordinator change or some sort of new mind in the room that can have a different take on what Mizzou's passing game can be, then great. But that probably means that, you're keeping as many in-house options as possible at quarterback and hoping that somebody takes the jump, or you're devoting a bunch of resources to go and get the white whale in the quarterback market.
And look, we don't know who really all is going to be available at quarterback. There will be guys that enter that we didn't think would. And, there will be guys from that group that are options and some that aren't. And just getting to the nitty gritty of that is what ultimately has to happen if you're Eli Drinkwitz. But I think it's going to be really interesting, because again, you could get 10 different texts into this show today from 10 different people telling them how to say, hey, here's what I hope they do to fix the passing offense. And many of them might be a plausible plan, but they're going to have to pick a direction and I think kind of stick with it in the way that they want to go about doing that.
Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR as we'll start to learn a few bits of portal news over the next few weeks. As far as who Mizzou adds, you might have to wait until a little bit later for that, until the portal actually opens. But
there might be reports that come early, but there
will be a good amount of back channeling as far as who can we seal a deal with, and then maybe have a wink sort of agreement, but nothing will be known until the portal opens early January.
And you also have to figure out, okay, Matt Zollers was probably expecting to sit behind everybody all year long and would have been cool with that, but now he's played a few games, and so is he it'd be fun to play next year? The individual decisions of these players is going to factor in as well. This is going to be the wildest portal we've ever had, not just from a Mizzou perspective.
Across the country.
Generally, it's going to be insane.
It will be. 875-5847 if you want to weigh in on it. We'll also weigh in on what could be a wild and crazy scenario conference championship weekend. What if Duke wins and James Madison loses? What does the committee do for their final college football?
I know what Manny Diaz would say.
Oh, I do know. Yeah. He's got ideas. What are your ideas? Let us know about them as we roll along here on The Big Show, KTGR.
The Big Show with Andy and Brenden continues next on your total sports station, KTGR.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app now. Use Radio MO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promos or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Macadoodles does selection like nobody else. If you're looking for ingredients to make the perfect new drink, look no further. Why settle for boring? Macadoodles has you covered. With Columbia's widest variety of beer, wine, and spirits, you're sure to find something new and exciting when you shop with Macadoodles. Come experience the difference in selection at Macadoodles today. Macadoodles delivers world-class customer service and unmatched selection at unbeatable prices. Who does selection like nobody else? Macadoodles does.
Save big money in your next project right now at Menards, your plumbing headquarters. Put the finishing touches on your kitchen with a faucet from Moen. Moen products are built to last. The Adler kitchen faucet includes a side spray to make cleanup simple and comes in a spot-resist stainless finish. On sale now through December 7th. View our entire selection of Moen faucets on Menards.com. Plus, check out our weekly flyer for other great deals happening this week.
It's hard to believe basketball season is already here. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill reminds you that whether you need a place to grab a bite after a local high school or college game, or you just want to plop down with some friends and watch some hoops on TV, they've got a spot for you. 1851 Underground has drink specials and discount happytizers for happy hour. Check them out on Facebook or at 1851underground.com. It's not a secret, but it is underground. 1851 Underground Tap and Grill in the historic Brick District, downtown Fulton.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, all the creatures were stirring. A mouse ran down Mom's blouse. The termites sat waiting in their dark little lair, hoping Steve's pest control would never be there. The bedbugs were nestled all snug in the sheets, with visions of biting our feet in our sleep. Mama sat by the window, Dad got on the phone, and he called Steve's pest control to come save our home. Then out on the lawn there arose such a clatter, and the bugs in our house knew they soon would be splattered. Mom ran from the window to open the door, and Steve's pest control had brought presents galore. He sprang to his truck, to his team gave a shout, and away went the bedbugs, the termites and mouse. And I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, "I'm your friend in the pest control business. Good night."
Now you got a friend in the pest control business. Steve's Pest Control.
Hi, I'm Tristan Colon, Mizzou grad and 6-year NFL veteran.
I'm Charlie Stickland.
And I'm Sarah Stickland McDonald of the Stickland & Stickland Injury Law Firm.
In football, home field advantage can make all the difference.
The same is true when choosing your injury lawyer.
We're locals. We know the courts, we know the towns, we know the people.
Just as I protect my team on the field,
our family will protect your family.
When sorry just doesn't cut it.
Push back with Stickland & Stickland.
Tired of calling Andy and Brenden? So are their wives. Then shoot them a text right now. 573-875-KTGR and become part of the Big Show.
4:30 here on the Big Show, KTGR and the KTGR app. Daniel texting in, am I crazy to think that our OC is staying? I feel like we would know by now, maybe after the bowl. I don't know. I think most likely after the bowl is when you see a lot of those staff changes, at least for like schools that don't have a new head coach. Like the schools that are hiring a new head coach, obviously those staffs are being filled out, and you're seeing maybe some existing coordinators or assistants at other programs leave potentially for those jobs. But I think if you've got your head coach in place, most of your staff is probably in play. You're not telling them to leave yet until I think after the bowl game.
Yeah. And I, the coaching carousel is kind of finding its way, and then the coordinator carousel can continue to do so a little bit on somewhat of a delay compared to that. And a lot of times too, it's not as immediate. Like teams will be fine if they want to hire a coordinator that guy's still coaching somewhere. They might let him play through, especially if it's a championship weekend. Now, after this weekend, you might see even more of that movement and the dust start to settle on that. But I actually agree with the text. I think Kirby Moore will be the OC next year. That would be like, if you just asked me point blank, yes or no, that would be my prediction. I don't know what kind of odds I'd give you on that. I don't know how confident I am in it, but I think it just seems, maybe I have like John Mozeliak brain, where all the time with the Cardinals, I would be like, oh, they're not going to do multiple things in one off season. Maybe Drink is so fed up with the way that things were going and realizes the missed opportunity that it was that he blows it up. But I don't expect that. I expect more like manageable kind of conservative tweaks to say, all right, here's what we're going to isolate. If you start changing a bunch of things at once, will you then learn from it? Because you won't be able to measure what actually was different. You know what I mean? If you change everything, I don't think Drink thinks his offensive philosophy as a coach is like totally terrible. I think he thinks we had some specific areas that we fell short. What do we change or tweak about that? And frankly, the answer could be nothing. The answer could be the people in the room have to do things differently. That could mean Bo, Zollers, and Kirby are the trio that we're going to figure it out with come September. Like that could happen too. I expect some sort of movement because it is college football in the transfer portal era, but like we said, time will tell.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. So like if you think Kirby Moore stays, does that mean there's changes at quarterback, or is that even too drastic of a change itself?
I would say if Kirby Moore stays, I would still consider it plausible that there are changes at quarterback. But that could mean one guy transferring out, Mizzou replacing that guy, and then going into August with a competition between the one that remains and the newcomer.
Which
you know what I mean?
Such a needle to thread too.
Like, it's not simple. None of this is elementary by any means. No, and this is at the highest level, man. Like there are going to be some real decisions to have to be made, but it's not as simple as Drink being able to say, okay, I want this quarterback to stay because I want him to start. I want this one to go because I don't think we're going to use him and we need his money that he would have been paid in NIL to allocate elsewhere. It's not going to be that simple because the player has some agency in this as well if he has signed a multiple-year contract. So there's going to have to be a little bit of give and take, a little push and pull. You can certainly have a meeting with a player and say, hey, explore your options because although you started this year, Bo, you know, Zollers, we like what we saw from him, and it'll be a competition. You know, we're gonna play the best guy, which is what is true. Like that's not, they wouldn't just be telling him that would be reality. But like you can nudge a player in a direction if you wanted. But I'm saying all of this is hypothetical. I have no idea what Drink would want to nudge Bo Pribula to do. He might want to nudge Bo Pribula to stay right where he is because he believes they can still get the most out of him. Only Drink and the coaching staff really knows that at this time, but we'll probably find out some of it eventually based on what ends up happening.
Call or text us with what you think, 875-KTGR. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube channel. We're live right now and on Facebook. That's what Michael did. Michael says, do you think our current quarterbacks have multi-year contracts Drink has talked about? If so, are they easy to break? No, I mean, no clue. But
my guess is Bo does, because what was always floated about that $1.5 million was that it was over 2 years and not. But again, that's kind of conjecture because I'm not reporting it. That's not my information. I've read a bunch of people talking about it. I'm not the one that was told the information. So that's the difference when you're talking about reporting. We're just talking about this thing. Somebody somewhere might know that information. I don't happen to. So it's kind of hard to know definitively. But it's a very good question, Michael, because it is at the center of what all this is going to become, right? That's kind of baked into every conversation that'll be had about the portal and the roster.
And so like it's the first question is there a multi-year contract? And then the second question is, okay, is there an appetite on either side to get out of it? Right? Like it's like, does the team want to move on or does the player want to move on? It weaves this conversation into so many different angles and so many different tributaries to where you just don't know how exactly it's going to pan out and what Mizzou's options would even be after that, because how much they were paying him and how much they're paying to buy out of a contract or whatever it might be, if it was a multi-year one, dictates what they can then go get out of the portal if they need to. So it's just a huge winding road that's, look, I guess we'll find more clarity on it, but we shall see. Okay, this I would love clarity on. Who makes the college football playoff as essentially the 12th team if James Madison loses and Duke wins this weekend? James Madison's the 25th team.
And they would obviously be not an auto qualifier. They're playing against whom? Who does it?
Troy.
Who does okay.
Troy is the other team playing in the Sun Belt Championship this weekend.
And their record this season was not as strong. So they're completely irrelevant. They would not be rated as one of the group of champions that would potentially usurp an 8-5 Duke. can we get a little love for Dan Mullen potentially? Like
that might be the answer. Like
UNLV is facing Boise State. I think Boise is favored, but don't quote me on that. I'll pull it up. But like that's the answer is like would the committee look at it and say there wasn't a standout other than JMU from the group of 5, and so we're going to pivot back to just letting the ACC champion go in. But UNLV's had a good year and a good record, and so
Boise State is a 4.5-point favorite this weekend.
They're favored.
They get to now they're hosting the game,
it's
so
on
that maybe
the turf.
bakes in a little bit.
Yep.
But like, UNLV's 10-2, Boise State's 8-4, but Boise State is the team that Vegas likes a little bit more.
And by the way, Boise State was implemented into this game by some sleight of hand. Like there was a multi-tiebreaker that the conference just kind of said, here's who we're shoving into the game because we think it's what's best for our conference. That's what many thought the ACC should have done rather than like adhere to their bylaws of what is labeled as a tiebreaker. I'll bet you anything the ACC changes their tiebreaker after this year, but that would have been pretty questionable to do to Duke when there's a rule set in place if they had done it midstream. The New Mexico and San Diego State were both 6-2 with 9-3 overall records, but Boise State ends up somehow through the tiebreaker minutia getting the spot here. They lost 4 games. I am so tired of Boise State, and not only football but basketball too. They're the ones that lost to the D2 team, and we're always talking about the Mountain West in basketball. Give me a freaking break. I don't want to hear about it if Boise State wins. If UNLV wins and they're 11-2 and they win on the road at Boise State, that's almost the best thing that you could ask for if you're UNLV, to get to play this game on the road, because that trumps up your resume even a little bit more if the committee ends up looking for somebody else to apply in. I would say UNLV over Duke. I really think I would, but I don't know what the committee would do.
I would probably do that. I mean, I'm looking at the resume. They've lost to Boise State already this year. They went on the road and they lost. Oh my gosh, that was 56-31. Boise State won that game.
Unlikely that this is going to play out.
But yeah, I mean, it all depends on Troy, right? Troy's got to play above their head.
And by the way, Troy is 23.5-point underdog as well to JMU. JMU is going to wipe the floor with them, but it's a fun exercise.
It is fun. I mean, this could be fascinating if it happens that way. And like, it also just depends on, I think, how they feel about Duke anyway, which you shouldn't feel good about them. I think Duke wins that game, by the way.
No way.
Yeah.
What's the spread there?
It's only 4 points.
This is neutral site. Can we all agree? Unless you're a Virginia fan, this is the outcome that we want to see, because it makes an absolute mockery of the system.
Yeah.
And that's really what this is all about. That would be hysterical. Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State, that's the Conference USA. Neither of those teams are in the mix. Could you? Yeah. I'm
MAC
trying to
champion,
find an angle. Not the MAC.
Yeah, it's not them this year.
No, it's UNLV or Boise State versus Duke in the unlikely event that Troy upsets JMU as a 23.5-point dog.
Oh boy. What if they just said, you know what? Fine, Miami, you can be in.
That would be right and just. Like, do they end up changing the format in the language of like these AQs, the notion of automatic qualifiers? Do they end up making adjustments to that based on this? Because this is only the second time we've seen it. It didn't take long to get to a chaotic scenario where, truthfully, it wasn't deserved, right? It was not deserved what these ACC teams are going to gain the benefit of. And in Virginia's case, you could make a case like they're borderline, and that's fair enough. But in the case of Duke, like, there's just no way that this should be the way that we're deciding the championship of our sport, with Duke potentially having a lane to be involved as a top 12 team in the country. They lost 5 times. They're barely bowl eligible, and they're getting into the dang ACC championship.
Right. Yeah.
They got to change some stuff about this. I don't know specifically what the least like problematic way to change it would be. I'm sure there can be some brainstorming on that, but this is not the way they currently have it.
I can't believe that it's come to this. Although I can believe it.
No, I can't.
It's going to lead to Does this eventually lead us to like the play-in scenario? Like
I think that we're tracking toward that. What's going to be complicated is in the same way that we were wondering how many AQs, if we were going to expand it to 16 and tie each conference to a certain number of automatic qualifiers, what you're basing it on recency to say like the SEC we think is the best and the Big Ten is right up there at the same line as the SEC. The Big 12 is a little bit worse. The ACC is even worse. But we're not going to really make them get less than the Big 12 because that would be just based on what happened the last couple of years. Like you don't want to make these decisions. That's what scares me about AQs. But if you're doing the qualifier play-in thing, you have to say on some level, yeah, there's more deserving SEC and Big 10 teams on a given year than there are Big 12 and ACC. So is it play-in for 6 of the SEC and Big 10 and only 4 of the other leagues? Is it 3 of the, like, what do they actually do to come up with that format is something those 4 leagues will argue over. And then the group of 5 teams will just be told like what they get out of it at the end of the day. Yeah. And so it's the Drinkwitz vision, right? That he shared in July and everybody was going, what is he talking about? A 28 team, 30 team playoff?
Because here's the
Atlanta,
thing, you're also trying to avoid the scenario that like, of all people, John Gruden was laying out today. And like, I can't believe I'm agreeing with things that John Gruden says.
What did he say?
Well, he laid out his whole, like, it's unfair that teams at the top are playing this weekend and teams like A&M and Ole Miss that are safely in and they don't have to play at all. And they get to host a playoff game in a couple of weeks. Like it really is not fair. And I agree with that.
Last year, they literally had something in place last year that made this meaningful. You win your conference championship, you get a bye. But we all said that was bad because it was.
I think it was bad. Yeah.
So like, what do we do? You can't have it
essentially
both ways.
You can't have at-larges. Like that's the problem. You just can't have at-larges if you're going to have any type of scenario like that where you want to avoid teams that are going to be in the playoff but don't have to play a conference championship or a play-in or anything like that. Like you don't have at-larges. That's it.
That's why. And Brandon mentions 32 team. You know the way that FCS
D2,
does.
Yeah,
not D2,
FCS or D2. Yeah.
Like. And again, I think that's too many because I want these losses that are happening during the regular season in big games to be meaningful.
Yeah.
Even you could think of the biggest NFL matchup. It's a primetime Sunday night football and it's the 2 top teams and it goes down to the wire and it's a great game. And then it's like, all right, they won. That was really cool. But like by Tuesday, it doesn't really matter. Like you've got 16 other games that you're going to play and that's going to determine more about whether you make the playoffs or not. Unless it's like the last week and it's, do or die, but you can't manufacture those scenarios often. I like that any given week of college football, there can be 2 top unbeaten teams or 2 top 1-loss teams that if they lose, there are implications to that loss. And we're losing that if we'd start talking about this type of, it may be what's most fair, but that is what you would end up losing in terms of the playoff structure if you go that direction.
So what chaos scenario are you imagining for the college football playoff this time around following this weekend? Give us a call or a text at 875-KTGR. Under the bus coming up next. Vandy's trying to create their own chaos scenario, and I'm just like, guys, no, not like
I'm actually into it.
Not like
so
this.
We can argue about it.
That's next.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon, I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lee's Tire Company. If it's round and rubber, Lee sells it. Lee'sTireCompany.com. Mizzou Women's Hoops is back in action tonight from Mizzou Arena as they host the Cal Bears in the ACC SEC Challenge. The Tigers enter tonight with a record of 7-2 on the season, coming off back-to-back wins last weekend over Bradley and Northwestern, respectively. Cal enters the game with a 6-2 clip, coming off of a loss to Auburn last Wednesday. Tip-off from Como is set for 8 o'clock right here on KTGR. The Kansas City Chiefs are preparing to take on the Houston Texans from Arrowhead Stadium this Sunday. According to the Chiefs injury report, offensive lineman Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor were both non-participants during today's practice with an ankle injury and knee injury, respectively. Cornerback Christian Roland Wallace was also a non-participant at today's practice due to a back injury. This weekend's matchup is slated for Sunday Night Football with kickoff at 7:20. And although National Signing Day for the class of 2026 was yesterday, Mizzou football was back on the recruiting trail today for the class of 2027. Braylon Warren, a quarterback out of Omaha, Nebraska, committed to Mizzou earlier today, as first reported by Hayes Fawcett of Rivals. Warren was listed as a 3-star recruit and is the number 29 rated quarterback in the class of 2027. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is next.
I'm tracking another cold night on the way with low temperatures in the teens tomorrow morning. We bounce back to the upper 30s and low 40s in the afternoon with lots of sunshine to enjoy on Friday. Clouds start rolling in again on Saturday ahead of some wintry precipitation Saturday night into Sunday. You could see a mix of rain, freezing rain, or snow, but amounts should be light and impacts will be low this weekend. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
This holiday season, help those who are food insecure in our community. Join KTGR during the Commerce Bank 1-for-1 Holiday Food Drive, Wednesday, December 17th. Drop off your donations from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Columbia Mall or at Buckeye in Jefferson City off Missouri Boulevard. All the money raised will go toward the food bank for Central and Northeast Missouri. Help those in need during KTGR's 1-for-1 Holiday Food Drive with Commerce Bank. Find more details on the KTGR app.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. One of my first and only auto claims for me personally came when we were on a long road trip, and I was maybe following a semi-truck a little too close, and we all know when those rocks pop up, crack your windshield. First thing I did the next day was call Phyllis. Phyllis handled the whole thing. She got us into, I think, one of the local vendors to replace our windshield, and within 24 hours, it was done, it was over, and made it a very seamless process.
Wishing you a season filled with shake with la 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 la. The air is merrier when you get shake with la 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 la. Spirits rise, in fact they're soaring. Shake with la, shake with la, shake with la. Here to keep your fire roaring. Shake with la la la.
Happy holidays from Shangri-La Dispensaries. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
Are you at the mercy of your bladder? If leaks are keeping you from living your best life, you should know that it doesn't have to be that way. Incontinence can be treated. Don't wait to get the help you deserve. The National Association for Continence is a nonprofit organization that's helped millions get on the path to a life without leaks. Visit nafc.org now to download your free pelvic floor muscle training kit and become the boss of your bladder.
This year, take a bite out of one holiday hassle and have your festive feast expertly prepared by Main Event Catering, the chefs of Courtyard by Marriott Columbia. Ready for pickup? You'll spend less time in the kitchen and more smiles with family. All the favorites: turkey, ham, prime rib, roast beef, even fried chicken, and more. Plus, any of the side dishes and desserts your crew craves. Treat to your family with Main Event Catering. Order Holiday Magic today. 443-8000, 443-8000, and jingle all the way.
Hey, y'all, it's Molly from Billiards. We've all heard about Santa's naughty and nice list.
And I know where you're at this year.
So at Billiards, we're doing a naughty burger and a nice burger.
Which is which?
Our nice burger is our famous Billiards burger. Top it with whatever you want. The naughty burger is our roomy with lots of spice.
Santa likes making it hot.
Looking on down for burgers and beer. Billiards, home Broadway.
You know, we named Vixen after Mrs. Claus.
Oh, Santa.
I'm Missouri Attorney General Catherine Hanaway. We've received reports of a devastating new telephone scam involving the use of Bitcoin ATMs to prey on Missourians. Scammers might claim you are in legal trouble and must pay using crypto ATMs immediately or face charges. Hang up the phone. If you've been the victim of a fraud, call 800-392-8222 or visit ago.mo.gov.
Sponsored by the Missouri Attorney General's Office.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
Hey, this is Jimmy with Pro Designs, and maybe you've heard, we're the vehicle wrap specialist, but branding your business doesn't stop there. At Pro Designs, we can wrap your walls, windows, even floors.
Go to ProDezigns.com.
Come see them at their locations in Eldon or Columbia off Rangeline Street and I-70.
Pro Designs, but better than a billboard.
If If it's Mizzou sports, it's happening here. Now, back to the Big Show on KTGR.
It's time to go under the bus on the Big Show.
Vandy, don't do this. Don't do this.
Why?
It's not going to happen. It's way too short of notice. But Vanderbilt reportedly was trying to get a 13th game together, I guess, against either like Miami or BYU or not BYU.
No, Utah.
Utah, that's right. One of the two, so that, hey, we can try to showcase to the committee why we deserve to be in. Come on.
I think it's good. I don't see a problem with it.
I see plenty of problems with it.
What? Name one.
You played your games. You've played all your games that you're allowed to play.
Yeah, but if you're Vanderbilt, why not? Like, there's no rules in society anymore. Why not just try it?
Well, there's no rules in this sport, so I understand why they're trying, but it shouldn't matter at all. It's an exhibition. It should be viewed as an exhibition and nothing else if it actually happened.
And we'll never get to see it because it's not happening. But if you're Vanderbilt, what do you have to lose? Are you making the college football playoff? Do you have even a percentage of a chance to make it? No, not with the way the rankings came down. So shoot your shot. I have no problem with it. In a world where we just got done saying the conference championship weekend does not make sense as it is currently structured, they're basically trying to get the jump on the notion of a play-in to say, hey, another worthy team that's on the outside looking in, come play us this weekend and see what people do with it. I think it's was never going to happen, but I do not have a problem with it. And it's another thing that just sort of highlights the absurdity of the system as it is. I will say the one downside is that it's the same team where the guy is like, I should be the Heisman. Please let me win the Heisman. It's like, you're not the Heisman.
No.
So like the Vandy stuff, the fact that it is Vandy is a little annoying, but a team in that position, I think it's worth the gambit. It wasn't ever going to pan out, but I don't think I have an issue with it. You can honk them. I'm not going to get too upset about it, but I have no problem with it.
Under the bus.
You played your games. I'm sure the Chiefs would love a couple extra games to work with to try to pad their record to get into the playoffs. That's not how it works, though.
That's
not how it works. You play your games and you see where the chips fall.
College football, it's a lot closer to how it works, so I could see him trying it.
Oh, boy. Also under the bus, too, Kansas State Athletic Director Gene Taylor. It's not really a scandal. Like, it's Chris Kleiman's retiring. He's stepping down. He, I guess, was going to announce it later this week, but there was reporting locally in Manhattan that leaked the story, and so Kansas State had to get out in front of it and it's like, he's retiring.
Admit it.
Yeah. And Colin Klein's going to come in and be the head coach. Now, that's something that I don't think have officially announced, but again, that's through the reporting and everybody kind of it's Colin Klein. He's going to come back to K-State and be the head coach. Apparently, Gene Taylor was still trying to push that off yesterday at a news conference in Manhattan. This is according to Vahe Gregorian of the Kansas City Star. At a news conference in Manhattan, K-State AD Gene Taylor said KSU had, quote, absolutely not, end quote, had any contact with Colin Klein yet, and added, quote, I'm not even sure if I still have his number, end quote. Oh, come on. They're going to announce him tomorrow, according to the reporting. This was Wednesday. The AD is saying, I don't have the dude's number. And on Friday, he's going to say, here's our new head coach. Okay.
Yeah, that's blatant lying if it ends up coming down that exact path. Yeah, that would be crazy.
Like, come on. Like, just admit that you couldn't keep this secret enough and let us know the deal. Like,
under the bus.
Like, I think it's a good hire. Like, let's not. Also, don't badmouth the fact that I think you're getting the right guy in the room, too. You know?
Yeah, and by the way, a la Bruce Pearl, gross to do it right after National Signing Day where kids for Kansas State signed not knowing that information. There's a kid in St. Louis that signed not knowing that information, which maybe he would have made the same choice, but that's scummy to me.
Yeah.
It's time for the sweetest thing in sports on The Big Show.
Well, Mizzou already got a jump on the 2027 class. The first, yesterday they signed 19 high school kids, and then the very next day, boom, 2027 account opened up for the recruiting class. They bring in, or they get the commitment of 3-star quarterback Braylon Warren out of Omaha, Nebraska. I think Iowa, Wisconsin, and Kansas State were in on him as well, but he chose Mizzou. So can't say that they haven't at least started on 2027. Here we go.
There you go. Yep, there will be a lot more of them to come. This is the cycle. Like, good for him. In 3 years, maybe 4, we'll see if he's playing for Mizzou. But this is the game. Like, this is what you have to do. And open it up. We're ready on 27. Just get it going. That's the nature of the beast in college sports.
Yeah, it never stops. Recruiting never stops. And, of course, it'll be high-flying when it comes to the transfer portal here very soon. So we'll get to all of that. In the meantime, big game for the Chiefs this weekend. Got to essentially keep their season alive again as they host the Texans. Over-unders for the game coming up at 5:05. And, man, you might be on the brink of trying to lock up a playoff spot in your own fantasy football league. So we'll try to help you out with that with Play, Fade, Eliminate coming up at 5:25. Here on The Big Show, KTGR.
Kubota owners, after a busy season of mowing, hauling, and working hard, it's time to give your Kubota a little attention of its own. Schedule your Kubota winter service today, and in Boone County, enjoy free pickup and delivery with their 30-point service plan with Farm Power Lawn and Leisure. Keep your equipment ready to roll when spring comes. Call 573-442-1139 or visit fplal.com before March 1st. Farm Power Lawn and Leisure, your Kubota headquarters all year long.
Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. Hit a deer, win a cow. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. FPP, Easy's 1, 2, 3. Award-winning auto collision repair. Don't wait, we're great. We work with all insurance companies. We work with all insurance companies. Yes, we work with your insurance company. New Bloomfield, Missouri. FPPBodyShop.com. 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 Fletcher, Performance and Paint.
When it comes to tree care, knowledge matters. And Advanced Tree Solutions doesn't just cut, they care, educate, communicate, and protect the health of your trees. From pruning to removal to planting, their expertise goes beyond the surface. They're known for properly planting trees, removing burlap and wire cages from the root ball to ensure long-term growth and strength. With expert service and yearly discounts, your trees are in good hands. Call Eric at Advanced Tree Solutions, your tree's best friend. AdvancedTreeSolutionsLLC.com.
KTGR and MU Healthcare Sports Medicine are highlighting a local athlete each week. It's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight.
This week features Father Tolton's sophomore guard, Jordan Ray, who scored 13 points and added 7 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 steals, helping the Trailblazers to a 48-41 win over Herman in their season opener.
That's the KTGR Athlete Spotlight, thanks to MU Healthcare Sports Medicine, providing everything athletes need to be and stay at their best, because they're competitors too. KTGR AM Columbia, KTGR FM Fulton Columbia, K286CL Columbia, in Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
I'm Christine Lisi. The Cowboys tonight seek to run their winning streak to 4 when they visit the Lions in the first game of NFL Week 14. Detroit's drop 3 of 5 is 8th in the NFC, game and a half out of the final NFC wildcard spot, and its defense will have more to worry about than Dallas receivers CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, notes our Harry Douglas.
They're not one-dimensional like they've been in the past. They run the football effectively. I believe they're 13th in rushing the football right now. Javonte Williams, he is 10th in the national, top 10 in the National Football League in rushing. So there's this balanced attack. Brian Schottenheimer, he's sending guys in motion. Kevontae Turpin, he's giving the defense eye candy, something else to think about before the balls actually snap.
Cowboys are 2 out of the final NFC wildcard spot. Detroit receiver Amon-Ra St. Brown, ankle injury, game time decision. Injured offensive lineman Penei Sewell, Taylor Decker, Graham Glasgow, all expected to play. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson didn't practice today. Team expects he'll play Sunday against the Steelers. Alabama football coach Kalen DeBoer denying interest in the Penn State head coaching vacancy. He's been among those linked to that job.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We make the claims process easy so you can get back on the road in no time. It's why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive. See for yourself at progressive.com.
From Faroe,
15 to the 10.
Orange.
Back to the wall, and it's got her.
And Arrowhead.
Touchdown, Kansas City.
To your speakers.
This is the big show, baby.
Get fresh takes on the biggest sports stories in mid-Missouri. Right now, this is The Big Show with Andy and Brenden on KTGR.
A lot of football talk coming your way over the next hour as we're going to get into it for over-unders when it comes to Sunday Night Football this weekend. Yep, Chiefs, once again in a single-game window on Sunday night, taking on the Texans, and they need the win, quite frankly. But there's going to be some challenges for Kansas City. Limitations on the offensive line as they'll be shuffling in some new pieces, it would appear. That is a dangerous pass rush against which to be shuffling in new pieces on your offensive line. So give us your thoughts on Chiefs-Texans over-unders with a call or a text at 573-875-KTGR. We'll get to that in a minute. At 525, you can text in your fantasy football questions as we'll play Fade Eliminate. But first, it's 5 o'clock.
It's time for the Top 5 at 5 on The Big Show. Number 1.
If you want to trade away for curtain number 1, you can have curtain 1.
Seems that the tackles this weekend will be Wanye Morris on the left side and Jalen Moore on the right for the Chiefs. And, of course, Mike Caliendo at right guard. Chiefs going to be without, it seems, 3 offensive starters as they take on the Texans and their very strong pass rush. Yeah, I got concerns. How quickly can they get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands? That'll be the big question mark. And then when you get a chance at a deep shot, you've got to be accurate with it in a game like this. So we'll play the over-under game in a bit. But I got to say, like, when it comes to passing stats for the Chiefs, I have a hard time seeing them getting over a lot of those numbers.
Number 2.
Number 2, your timing is impeccable.
What will Mizzou football need out of the portal? I mean, there could be the quarterback question, but honestly, like if you really feel good about either Will Pabula or Matt Zowers taking a step forward next year, I think you probably need to stand pat because the transfer portal can have a lot of uncertainty when it comes to quarterbacks. Eli Drinkwitz kind of let it slip that, yeah, we might need some corners. And look, that makes sense because they're going to have some graduations there. Same thing at the D tackle room. A lot of guys leaving because they're out of eligibility. So you got to replenish that. Always, 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 when you're in the league that Mizzou is in, replenish the offensive line as much as possible. Portal might be big towards that line too.
Number 3.
Hope you got Tiger Talk last night on KTGR. If you did, you might have heard the story of Kelly Harper coming back as a player in high school from an ACL a little more than 2 months after surgery. Yeah. And then the other time she tore her ACL, it was closer to 3 months. She's had some miraculous recoveries, of course. But those stories, you'll be able to hear those during Tiger Talk all season long. And, of course, you'll hear Mizzou women's basketball tonight as they play in the ACC-SEC Challenge. They get Cal, a classic ACC opponent, right? Yeah, well, it's an 8 p.m. tip-off, 7:45 pregame right here on KTGR.
Number 4.
Oh, shanked it.
What could be the biggest chaos scenario in the college football playoff from this conference championship weekend? Clearly, it's James Madison losing and Duke winning. That would maybe open the door for UNLV. That seems to be the only team that I think would be deserving if they win their conference championship. Other than that, you got to scrape to the bottom of the barrel a lot. But here's what I do know, Vandy. Come on, 13th game. It's not happening.
Number 5.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face, slap.
Penn State at this point just has to make Terry Smith their full-time head coach, right?
That's the Big Show's Top 5 at 5 on KTGR.
875-KTGR, if you want to call or text us. It seems that the growing sense around State College is that they would actually be good with Terry Smith, the interim, sticking around and at least having a chance to run this team himself.
I mean, I don't think you set out to fire James Franklin when they did to hire Terry Smith.
No.
But you don't get to pick it at this point because you have bungled this search every which way but Sunday. Yeah, I think that would be a fine outcome at this point because you probably at least have some semblance of the continuity. Like, you don't have a recruiting class at all, so you might as well have a roster, try to keep some of the guys that have been playing for this coach throughout the year. Maybe that's your best bet at this point. Pat Kraft has to go, probably.
Oh, you think?
I think the AD has to be fired at the end of it all.
I mean, sure, but again, if it's Terry Smith, he clearly was not the first choice. it doesn't
or the second or the 10th.
Sure, but it doesn't necessarily mean that he can't be the right one.
That's correct.
Right? So like you kind of roll with it if you want to make that decision, fine, and then you evaluate it after however long that
Probably
you want to
a
give
year.
it, and then it becomes the AD's responsibility, because he decided like, okay, we're just going to stand pat because we didn't get a whole lot of our options, and if it doesn't work out, then yeah, the AD's got to go. But look, it's Ryan Day was the interim at Ohio State before he became the full time, and I know not everyone's crazy about him in Buckeye land, but he did win a national championship last year.
It's pretty good.
So it's not impossible. I mean, it's easier to win at Ohio State than it is Penn State, but Penn State also has a good system.
Interesting that these jobs are so coveted and it's such a high profile scenario, but there are instances where schools will do exactly that. They'll put an interim in and they'll keep the interim, and it can go really well. Like, that's an individual that never would have gotten the job otherwise, right? Like, if they weren't the interim, they wouldn't have gotten hired for a full-time role. And yet we're so wrong about which coaching hires are going to be correct more often that sometimes the ones that we wouldn't have made can be the ones that are right. So I'm not saying he can't succeed there. I'm just saying that I think if you end up with the interim coach because that's the only guy that'll take the job,
right?
The AD has probably been to blame for that, and maybe there should be some repercussions.
Yeah, and if they go like 7-5 or 6-6 or something like that, then you clearly know your answer of.
It almost has to be an immediate success, which isn't fair to Terry Smith. But again, that would be somebody who wouldn't have gotten the job otherwise. So
right.
You take your shot and you try to become the man with it, and maybe he could.
Oh, sorry, guys. You don't get Eli Drinkwitz. He's staying here.
That's a big win. I really
Yeah.
did think Penn State, as much as people would say, well, Drink's going to stay in the South if he leaves at all, I thought Penn State was a legitimate threat. I guess maybe they weren't. I mean, there's reporting that there was an offer and it fell through. Like, Drink didn't sign it, didn't take it, didn't want what they were, who knows about the veracity of all these reports and rumors and rumblings, but that's out there as something that, people say. And would you be surprised if Drink was a heavy target for them, knowing that they pretty much have targeted half of the sport at this point?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't be surprised. And Drink said, no, I'm not picking up what you're putting down. And I think that is meaningful because as much as Penn State, look, there was a point in time in this process where we said the LSU job, oh my gosh, who's going to take that? What a mess. Yeah, whatever.
It's a great job. It's a great job.
Eventually, it's LSU at the end of the day. So the governor himself can meddle and still find a way to get the coach that they wanted all along.
The governor said that they would be done with these big, enormous buyouts. And guess what Lane Kiffin has? An enormous buyout.
I love politicians. I mean, they're just so good. They're just so very good.
Oh, man. 875-KTGR. Give us a call or a text. So, yeah, that's an interesting question that Penn State's got to answer. All right. Over-unders for Chiefs-Texans for Sunday. Shane texted in Chiefs over 1 sack and Texans over 4 sacks. Yeah. Separate
now
lines.
we always want to put a half on it. So if it's 3.5 sacks for the Texans defense, I will take that over.
Yeah,
and
I think so.
And that's scary because Mahomes is really good at evading sacks. You know what I mean? Like, it's not something but dude, there's nothing more. And you're a Texans fan, so you've watched this all year. As a team, or as somebody that if I'm needing a fantasy player on the opposite side of a Texans game, or maybe I'll bet on the other side of a Texans game, there's nothing more frustrating. You're yelling at the TV to the quarterback, throw the ball, and then they just don't. They go down in a crumpled heap because that's how good the Houston pass rush is. Who's starting it? Left tackle? What are the Chiefs going to do? Like, this is not going to be pretty.
Morris
this is not going to be
left tackle. Yeah, man. Like, he's not a tackle. Like, he's a guard. Like, they've tried that tackle, and it's just not working. And we know this. We have data last year of this being the case. But it just seems that they don't have anybody else that they can trust at the tackle spot. And
they've got injuries, man.
So
they've got attrition.
Wanya Morris is there. They already moved Kingsley inside. And so, like, it is not a good situation right now.
Are we back in the same situation we were in after the Super Bowl where we were like, yeah, this hodgepodge didn't work out. And like, they tried, they drafted a lineman, they signed a lineman. Like they tried, but here we are again going, we got to piece it together.
And like the lineman they drafted high was one that most didn't even expect to be available, and he still was, like this year, like at the start of the season. But then he has personal things come up, and then he has an injury. And so like you feel good about the future still, but you don't have enough depth to get through a season like this. And so it's just is what it is at this point. And we've been used to this here, watching this Chiefs team and seeing Patrick Mahomes just run around for his life. Here's what I'll say. Because of this,
rushing yards,
Patrick Mahomes.
For Mahomes.
Yeah, I mean, he shattered it last week, I'm pretty sure, in Dallas. I think he'll do it again.
Really like that call. I don't know how easy it's going to be to get away from those rushers, but I think you're right. He's probably due for a rushing prop to hit here this week. The number for Mahomes at do you want me to say it's an unnamed sports book, or do you want me to just tell you?
Yeah, just tell me. It's whatever.
At DraftKings, the over under on Mahomes is 22.5 rushing yards. I do like over.
Yeah, I do too. I think.
By the way, I also like 1 yard to be gained in the game for that. That freebie that they're doing on Sunday night.
Yep.
They're also doing one for tonight. If you haven't signed up yet, promo code KTGR.
Yeah.
The yard might come from the Texans, though. I don't know.
There will be a yard.
From the Chiefs.
I think a yard will be gained by somebody.
Just put that out there. So let me ask you. So I agree with the rushing thing for Mahomes. I think he's going to be running for his life. But let me ask you some uncomfortable questions that could make tomorrow afternoon around this time difficult when we're going through who we've got for this game.
Yeah.
Passing yardage for Mahomes is set at 240.5, over or under.
Oh, boy. Well, so here's the tough part about that. Do you think the Chiefs are going to run against this Texans defense
That was
at all?
going to be my next question, because as much as we talk about their pass rush, we should talk about that they have the 4th-ranked run defense in the NFL, allowing 91.7 yards per game.
They're just across the board.
If I were to tell you, the over-under for Kareem Hunt is 35.5 rushing yards.
Oh, man, that's a great number.
And that the over-under for Pacheco is 26.5 rushing yards.
That's another great number.
If I were to offer you Patrick Mahomes as the Chiefs' leading rusher, would you take it?
Ding, 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 ding.
I think I might. So if we're uncomfortable with the rushing lines on these players, like let's say they go over them, Pacheco getting 28 rushing yards instead of 26 is not going to lead to a Chiefs win. Hunt getting 37 instead of 33 is not going to lead to a Chiefs win. So if that's the area we're talking about for rushing, I bring you back to the passing question. Are you inclined to believe that just by necessity, Mahomes is going to get to 240.5?
I think so. Yeah.
Or is this a game where they just don't produce offensively? And that's why I alluded to tomorrow around this time, we'll be having a conversation about who we've got. That there's just not a path to victory if Mahomes doesn't clear this number.
Well,
like
you're saying if he doesn't clear the number, like, yeah, okay.
If Mahomes passes for 181 yards and they run as a team for, 80, like the Chiefs lose 13-9 and we're, you know what I mean? Like that could happen in this game. I'm scared.
So stinky.
I'm scared about the offensive line stuff for the Chiefs. That's like my thesis about this entire conversation on over-unders. Yeah, under, because I don't believe that this is going to go well.
Call or text us at 573-875-KTGR with what you think could happen here. This whole game, it still depends for me on, like, the matchup is terrible for how the Chiefs are currently constructed right now.
Couldn't be worse.
Like, you could not drum up a more dream scenario for a team in a position like the Texans are in go into Arrowhead.
I was going to say, the game could be at home.
Win.
That's the only thing that would be better for Houston.
It could be at their place. But, like, generally speaking, when they go on the road, you could not drum up a better scenario for them when they saw this game on the schedule in it was, April, and we're like, shoot, got to go to Kansas City.
That's
again.
an L.
And then, but you could not drum it up any better.
Nope.
I still need to see something I've never seen from this Texans team before to believe that they're going to win. Right?
Just beat them, beat the Chiefs.
I don't think I've seen that in my lifetime, or of course in the Texans' lifetime, which I am older than the Texans. But
right,
it's just, it doesn't it never seems like they have the type of unspoken thing or the confidence or the wherewithal when they take a punch in the middle of the game. Can they get back up? They've scored first against the Chiefs before. Heck, did it 5 years ago, 4 times before the Chiefs scored their first points and still couldn't win that game. So
what year was that game?
That was technically 2020, but it was like January 2020, the 2019 season, and the Chiefs went on to win their first Super Bowl with Mahomes.
I wish we were doing the big show at that time, just to have been here for the day
I
after
was.
that game. I know, but I
were not
in the orbit to have remembered. What did y'all talk about that next day?
Words came out of my mouth. I couldn't tell you what they were. I assume they weren't dirty because I'm still employed, but
they didn't fire
words did come out of my mouth.
Oh my goodness.
But it's like, that's the thing. And maybe it's the fan in me on that.
Right. You acknowledge the bias there.
Like, it's just something different has to happen with how this team approaches this game that I have not seen before in order for me to actually believe that the Chiefs are in real trouble in this game.
To lose to the Texans of all teams.
Yeah.
I am not biased really toward either of these teams. I'm a Chiefs lean. I like you guys. But I you know what I mean? It's not like it's going to ruin my day, whatever happens. I think I can see the Texans more clearly than you. And I think I can see the problems of the Chiefs the same as you see them.
Yeah.
And that's why the alarm is blaring. I'll give you a hint. If you guys don't take Texans plus 3.5 tomorrow in picks of the week, I will be taking it. You can put me first and it'll be my first
all right,
pick.
Producer Ben, make a note.
It'll be,
sure.
if y'all like the Chiefs, put me first and let me go to work, because I will gladly take 3.5 if that's still the number for and even if it's, I don't really care what the number is. I am concerned. I have like when the Chiefs lose in the Super Bowl vibes about this game, where it's just what has happened when the Chiefs have lost in the Super Bowl. O-line doesn't protect Mahomes. All right.
Yeah.
That could be, and the Texans aren't a Super Bowl team, but they got a Super Bowl defense. And so I have those concerns. The question is, can a building win a game for the Chiefs?
Yeah.
Can a building win it? Because if a building can win a football
environment
game, if a building can win a football game, it'll win a football game on Sunday night.
Yeah.
And they'll do it 13-9. But I love the under, by the way. I think it's like 41.5.
Oh, it's way down there. Yeah.
It's too many. That's too many points. Give me the under. It's going to be an ugly game, and one of those two teams is going to keep their playoff hopes alive by winning it. That's how I view this game.
It's insane. Well, I mean, for sure, it is a swing game for both of those teams. The Texans need it just as much as the Chiefs do.
Yep.
And we'll see who is able to want it more in a game like this. 875-KTGR if you want to call or text us with your thoughts. So, like, on the Chiefs' defensive side of things, like, again, we don't believe that they can get any type of pass rush because they haven't showed it against anyone. And
so Stroud is in for a fine day. Like,
I
think he'll be okay. They've got good cornerback play. Maybe the answer to winning this game with an ugly score is, if not a defensive touchdown, like winning the turnover margin.
Yeah.
Picking him off
turnover margin. How is CJ Stroud against the blitz is the main thing, because the Chiefs just blitz a lot. Yeah. And they can't get pressure with 4. And so Spags just says, all right, bring a corner, bring a safety, bring a linebacker, whoever it is. We need something to generate pressure. And teams have been able to exploit that. Like, the Chiefs have been an awful blitzing defense this year. They've been great in past years, but this year near the bottom of the league. And Dak Prescott was the guy who exploited that to the nth degree on Thanksgiving. So can CJ Stroud do it against a Chiefs blitz? Because look, like, when a team's blitzing you, it's not going to be all that easy on you. But
no,
the Chiefs are leaving a whole lot of things open when they do blitz that most quarterbacks this year have been able to thrive on. And can CJ Stroud do it? That'll be the key.
So can I give you this? Have you seen this from Mina Kimes? I was just looking this up as we were going.
Yep.
This year when the Chiefs blitz, they are 31st in yards per play, 28th in pressure rate, and 31st in sack rate. Whereas in those 3 stats over the past 3 years, they were 1st, 2nd, and 3rd in those same metrics when they blitz. That's the Spags game, right? That's what he does. That's I think that's somewhat of a concern. And I'm seeing this as a reply to Mina's tweet from John Hickman, who does Locked On Texans, and notes that Stroud versus the blitz this year is a 73.4 completion percentage, which is his highest personal completion percentage against any passing pressure rate. So like against the blitz has been maybe more of a favorable style of pressure. He's thrived under it relative to the other, to dropping back to do, the different categories that you could apply to that. He's done pretty well with it, according to that stat there, which I think is an interesting note, and was 10 for 12 for 157 yards, 13 yards per attempt, and 8 first downs against the Colts blitz on Sunday. Dude, this is a bad matchup on paper.
It's not. It's not good.
Can a building win a football game? That's all I've really got.
Can a climate win a building? It should be cold. The Chiefs always thrive on that, and we haven't seen the Texans do all that well in cold weather before. So, I mean, it is interesting. Now, I mean, Will Anderson didn't practice today, or not today. That was yesterday. I don't think they've come out with their injury report yet, but he didn't practice yesterday. Danico Autry also did not practice. Woody Marks did not practice. Jalen Reed did not practice. There are some guys on here to watch for the Chiefs, or not the Chiefs, the Texans, on their injury report. So,
I think I've got one from today.
Okay.
Reed was still a DNP. Marks was up to limited. Will Anderson was up to limited.
There you go.
Autry and Trent Brown up to limited. I think that was your Wednesday rest day for those who are a little banged up right now. But these guys are playing Sunday night. The majority of them, I would have to imagine, because like you said, both teams need this game as much as the other one does.
And I was honestly looking for, like, do the Texans have many wide receiver issues or injury wise that they
see?
So, I mean,
so let me ask you, since it is over unders on Stroud, the number is 230.5 for passing yards. I'm not crazy confident he'll clear that, but like 219 gets you a requisite 17 points, and that might win the game.
Yeah.
So I would say under 230.5 for Stroud, and I would say under 240.5 for Mahomes. I think you're getting an ugly, ugly game. It'll feel like that Al Michaels should be doing it on Amazon, the way that this game plays out. But it's going to be on Sunday night.
Man.
Yep.
It's a change up.
There's going to be a moment where Collinsworth is like, I don't know what we're getting.
Here's a guy.
Mahomes. But it's going to be 13-9. I just don't know who's going to win it, but that's going to be your game.
We both slipped into our Collinsworth.
We did.
Now, here's a guy.
Tell you what.
I got to tell you something. He's playing some football.
Then you kind of went Gruden on us there, though, at the end.
Is that a little bit of crossover somewhat?
There is some. Those two should just do a game together. Who needs play-by-play? Just let them go. Now, that's a good. That's a better
Chiefs-Texans game.
Your Gruden is better than your Collinsworth.
Okay, all right.
That was like a 9 out of 10 Gruden and like a 6.5 out of 10 Collinsworth. If I were grading on the scale there.
Well, give us your own grades and your over-unders, please. We'd prefer the over-unders. 875 KTGR.
Oh, that's what we were talking about.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Numbers and math and things like that. Tell us also your fantasy football questions, because we want to help you out there. We're just
I'm nervous.
I'm nervous too, actually.
It's a final push.
I'm on the line in a couple of areas, a couple of my leagues.
I've got a must win. I've got a win and in our dynasty league.
There you go. So I mean, we have just as much on the line as you probably do in your league.
Yep.
So tell us your questions. We'll try to help you out as much as possible. Play Fade Eliminate next year on The Big Show, KTGR.
Follow The Big Show on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And keep it here on your total sports station, KTGR.
You know your former golf bag? It's not just holding up the weed whacker on your garage wall. It's also holding cash. Same goes for that rowing machine you swore you'd use once. At Play It Again Sports, turn your gently used gear into money in your pocket. Bring in your old golf equipment, fitness gear, softball bats, baseball cleats, and more. Cash out and keep it, or trade up to something better. Play It Again Sports in Columbia. Think of them first so you don't finish last. Play It Again Sports, ColumbiaMo.com.
If you're craving something delicious, find your way to the Pasta Factory, where everything's made from scratch daily. Their fresh sauces, cakes, quiche, dressings, and soups are sure to tantalize your taste buds. And all pasta entrees are cooked, baked, and tossed to order. Don't leave without sampling those homemade desserts, lovingly crafted by Jason and Rob. Good. The Pasta Factory. Visit them at 3103 West Broadway Business Park, right in front of Walmart. Closed Mondays and Tuesdays. The Pasta Factory, where fresh meets flavor.
As we wrap up the end of 2025, we always try to encourage our clients that are looking for roofs, decks, siding, windows, covered porches, or whatever the project may be, kitchens, baths, basements, just to go ahead and start the process now at the end of 25 for those of you that are looking to get projects done in the first half of 2026, because things do book up fast once the holidays are over, the new year hits, and everyone starts focusing again on getting their stuff lined up for the summer. So now's the time if you want to beat the rush. Yeah, when you get started early, you have time where we can work through budgets and ideas, and we can start with your dream wish list, and we can offer financing to complement that and get the project not only that you really want and will upgrade your home, but also that's comfortable to you budget-wise.
The difference between a house and a home is the attention to detail. At True Sun Exteriors and Interiors, we'll turn your vision of a dream home into a reality. For more information or a free estimate, go to TrueSunExteriors.com.
TrueSunExteriors.com. Before the sun comes up and long after it sets, ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather keep working for you, gathering the information your family needs to take on the day, alerting you to breaking news and health and safety concerns in our area, plus tracking the latest weather conditions to help you plan ahead. It's everything you need to know from the team you trust most. ABC 17 News and Storm Track Weather, where the news comes first.
Do you owe $10,000 or more in credit card debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for, so don't wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-9069. 800-525-9069. 800-525-9069.
Your daily fix of local sports lives here. This is The Big Show on KTGR.
Over-unders for Chiefs-Texans. Text them to us, 573-875-KTGR, as we get you set for what should be an interesting NFL weekend. I mean, obviously the Chiefs need another win to save their season, and then another win, and then another win. They just need to win out. And then we'll see what happens in the rest of the AFC. But it's just an important one here for the tiebreaker that you could have against the Texans, who are also vying for that wild card spot. And then after that, you see better, I think, matchups than what you have at the moment. It's like if you win this game, like there can be wind back in the sails once again.
There's no doubt. This is the toughest remaining game, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Even though the Broncos have a better record, the Chargers have a better record, the circumstances surrounding this one, your O-line is as depleted as it's been all year, and you're facing that team with that pass rush. This is the tough one. This is the one you got to get. And then you start to see the possibilities open up.
And so that will be interesting to follow Sunday night as they take on the Texans. Coverage will begin at 6 p.m. on 96.7 KCMQ. Hope you join us for that. But we know you'll also be paying attention to some fantasy ramifications this weekend.
It's time to play Fade or Eliminate.
In most weekends, this is the one where you got to make it into the playoffs or have that last win to punch your ticket. I do have a league where I'm already starting the playoffs and I have a first round bye, which is kind of nice. So
that is nice.
Yeah.
I have some where knocking on wood, I think I can get a bye in about half my leagues. But there's some where I'm like, I got to win, or I'm sitting at home next week and not with the bye. I'm just sitting at home because I'm out.
Yeah. Oh, well. You only made it in 13 leagues instead of 16. I guess we'll live with that.
We'll see what I'll try to get the percentage for you before the end of the show.
All right, there you go. All right, Play, Fade, Eliminate. Text in your fantasy football questions to us, 573-875-KTGR. All right, how about this Play, Fade, Eliminate from David? And this is not David H. All right. He texted yesterday, but we'll get to it today. Need a guy to plug in if Amon-Ra can't go.
And I'm in the same boat, and I don't think he's going to play. But what do you got? What are the options?
By the way, the Schefter tweet on that was like,
what was it?
It was like
he's going to try to consider the potential of.
No, it was like it's all trending towards he can't go. But if there's anybody who could tough it out, it's like I'm going to read it verbatim just to tell you how ridiculous it was. Here it is. Did not practice this week due to his ankle sprain, and a return next week was considered the more realistic expectation per source. But the team also knows St. Brown is one of the NFL's toughest players, and if anyone can come back sooner, it's him. Okay.
And I'll say this, if he can't go tonight, there's no reason to think he'll go next week because they might be eliminated from the playoffs by then. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Not mathematically, but realistically.
Yeah, virtually.
So as someone who needs Amon-Ra to play for me during the fantasy playoffs, I guess I should be rooting for the Lions tonight. Because if they lose, why would he rush back?
Why would they try to make him be as effective as possible? That'd be a big question.
I think he won't play tonight. But the good news is it's happening on a Thursday. This is way better than having the Amon-Ra of the Chiefs. Like if Rice had this injury and you had to wait for Sunday Night Football to know in or out, that would ruin the whole lineup stuff. Now you'll at least know. So obviously stay on top of the news and be ready to change your lineups at a moment's notice before 7:20 p.m. tonight. But what do we got from David on the options here?
The flex option here could be Malik Washington, Jordan Addison, or Bashal Tootin. Okay.
And by the way, if it is Amon-Ra, don't put him in the flex. Put him in the wide receiver since he plays tonight. It's a little bleak there. Tootin, Malik Washington, and who is the third one?
Jordan Addison.
Yeah, boy. Are we getting 9 back? Is JJ McCarthy's alter ego 9 going to participate with us this week?
I don't know.
Because if not, you cannot start anybody who has Max Brosmer throwing to them.
Yeah.
But if it's McCarthy, I would go Addison, and by the time that game happens, you'll know. And McCarthy's not great either, but I think that's going to give you a better chance. Malik Washington, Tootin could score a touchdown. That would be the one thing I would say. Who do the Jags play this weekend?
The Jags?
If you project the touchdown, they're playing the Colts, so that's a tough defense. I can't sit there and say, very likely for Tootin to fall into the end zone. So Addison is my lean, but I'm sorry, because that's a very low floor option as well. Addison is the play. Fade. Fade Tootin, eliminate Malik Washington. And Washington could be fine, but these are three similar players.
Yeah.
So it's tough.
Flip a coin. That's how you do it.
Yeah, kind of.
All right.
Addison could catch you a long bomb, though. If you're talking about upside.
Yeah.
There is some notion of upside there.
David H. wanted to thank the Big Show for helping me to a 9-4 record and securing the top seed.
You're welcome.
4 teams in my league, all tied for the last playoff spot. Play, fade, eliminate, snacks to watch the action.
I thought he was going to say there are 4 teams in my league.
No.
No wonder you're 9-4.
Right, yeah. Come on now. No, he said that there are teams tied for the last playoff spot.
So he's out of the worry.
So he wants to play, fade, eliminate on snacks to watch the action.
That's funny.
Popcorn, chips and salsa, or goldfish.
I'm going to go, man, that's good. I'm going to go, give me chips and salsa as my play. I'll fade popcorn because I like it with like a sweet and a salty. I need I need like an M&M's to go with my
Put in there,
popcorn snack.
Yeah.
And then goldfish, perfectly valid snack. But for this, it's bigger than just a goldfish day. You know what I mean? That's going to be the eliminate. So yeah, I haha, hilarious, David. We get it. My advice was so good that you ended up not needing it this week.
He probably just
so there you go.
Took
By
the
the way,
of what you had for him.
Video of Amon-Ra like jogging and looking good.
Oh, good.
Just emerging in the last 20 minutes. So
Good. We have no idea what that means.
No idea what
play,
that means.
fade, eliminate. Text in your fantasy football questions to us. 573-875-KTGR. You can also leave a comment on our YouTube channel and on Facebook. Pete texting in. Who do I play? Josh Allen or Matthew Stafford?
great question. Allen, because the Cincinnati defense I still think is susceptible. Stafford's a great play. The Rams are one of my favorite against the spread picks this weekend. After losing to Carolina, they're going to beat up on little brother. Even though the game's in Arizona, I think the Rams are going to. And Stafford is going to throw a bunch of touchdowns. So I like both those options. I have a similar one where I'm choosing between who did I bench? I went Allen with it because I think Allen's just probably the number one. Oh, Dak tonight. Like that's a great matchup.
Yeah.
You know, the high scoring 55-point total on the over-under tonight. I'm going Allen over Dak because I just feel like the upside rushing, throwing, all of it could be very tempting for facing that Bengals defense. So in your case, I would say the same thing. Like season on the line, can you sit Josh Allen? It's probably a no for me, but I understand that Stafford's going to have a lot of points too. So maybe it'll be one where you can't really go wrong.
All right, play, fade, eliminate here on the Big Show. Text in your fantasy football questions to us, 875-KTGR. All right, running backs here, play, fade, eliminate. Devin Neal, David Montgomery, or DeAndre Swift.
I like Monungai better, but he's been questionable.
Yep.
So that's something to keep an eye on. He was great in the last game, though, Swift was. So that's a great choice. Who are the other two?
David Montgomery and Devin Neal.
Yeah, I'm playing Swift. It's the Packers, so it's a tough run defense, but he just went 18 for 125 yards on the Eagles. So I'll play DeAndre Swift right now. I don't have a problem with doing that at all. He's the play. I'll probably eliminate Neal, even though there's validity to his role now, but he's my eliminate. And whoever else the other one was is my
David
fade.
Montgomery tonight.
Yeah, Montgomery could score a touchdown. Like it's a good matchup against that defense. But I'll say this: Cowboys' run defense is actually
it's been better
up a little bit. Like
better.
they've been top. They've been like
Jerry
top
Jones
5
wanted to stop the run
over the last 3 weeks. He's kind of doing it.
That is true. I mean, we're all going to look back and say, like, I guess Jerry Jones was right. Dang it. Which is what he wants. He wants to be right. He doesn't want to win. He just wants to be right.
Amon-Ra just gave Jeremy Fowler the thumbs up as he walked off the
field.
So this is truly my worst nightmare. By the way, jurisdiction of legality. I played a ladder betting all of the Lions receivers to get receiving yards and Jahmyr Gibbs, and now none of them are going to get the yards because Amon-Ra is going to be in the game. I didn't think this was possible. Do you play Amon-Ra St. Brown? I think is a legitimate, fair question. The answer to which is yes, they're playing against the Cowboys. So, yeah, I'm going to be...
No, I think if he's healthy, if he's active...
if he's active, you play him. I'm putting him in all my lineups.
We find
right
out
now.
in 20 minutes, right? Like,
Yep.
If he's
It's
active,
gonna be,
you play him.
Yep. Stay tuned to your phone, but you got to play him if he's in.
Okay.
That matchup is so good against Dallas.
Yeah. All right. To the other matchup, how about other wide receivers that you might be considering? Play, fade, eliminate. Josh Downs, Cooper Kupp, or Trey Tucker.
I'll go Downs. I want to see what Trey Tucker has done recently. But Downs is certainly capable of making plays. He made a couple of nice plays last week. I can't do it with Cooper Kupp anymore. I love the guy, but you can't be playing him right now. He's my fade, though. Trey Tucker is not a very good option either. So Downs is the play, Kupp the fade, Tucker the eliminate.
What if I throw in Devon Vele into that mix?
He's above Tucker and probably above Kupp, but not above Downs.
Okay.
It's just too inconsistent for when he does and doesn't produce, a guy like Vele. So I don't know. It's not a bad option. He had a great game last week, but Downs is if I have Downs on my team, I'm normally trying to play him unless I've just got a really deep lineup.
See, I wonder if there's this element of teams like the Saints that look, they're out of it. They're not going to do anything, but are the
Just
individual players going to start, popping off in games that don't matter?
Are they still starting Tyler Suck?
I think so.
Is that okay? I mean, Vele is fine, but he's kind of a 1 week wonder to this point, right? He had a big game last week, but hasn't been in New Orleans all season for one. So it's kind of hard to judge game to game. But yeah, I say that it's fair between him and Josh Downs because he's gotten 7 targets over the last 2 weeks, 7 against the Falcons. It didn't do much with them, but then this last game went 8 for 93. There's some validity there to play Vele. If you could do a lot worse than him. He seems to be emerging as a go-to target. Playing the Buccaneers will score points. Yeah, I'll go Vele over Josh Downs, actually.
Okay.
Changed my mind there.
How about this one from Adam? Lamar Jackson or Jordan Love?
Oh, God bless you. Lamar Jackson's a hard guy to play right now. I've got Burrow against the Bills that I'm playing him over Lamar.
Yeah.
Ravens play this. Is that the Steelers this week?
I think so. Yeah.
Jordan Love against the Bears. Yeah, Jordan Love against the Bears. You might get injured on that by Josh Jacobs running in the touchdowns, but I think the Bears are going to score enough to make that be a game where both quarterbacks have to throw. So I would go Jordan Love actually over Lamar. I'm terrified of Lamar. You could get burned, but I don't want to play him right now. I don't think he's healthy.
All right, how about this one from Marksy then? Would you go Lamar Jackson or Marcus Mariota?
Good grief. That's disgusting. I think I don't even think it's a bad matchup. Who did the Commanders play? I remember thinking Marcus he'll run around.
Commanders have the Vikings.
Do you want to play Lamar? You want to play Marcus Mariota or good Marcus Mariota, who is currently playing bad?
But he could be good. It could be back to good Marcus Mariota again.
It's Lamar.
Okay.
I think that one's Lamar because actually that is a tougher matchup defensively.
Was hilarious. Two different people texted in about Lamar Jackson.
That's not a surprise. That is probably the toughest question to answer. And good luck if you've also got a Zay Flowers decision to make.
Yeah, that's been tough, man.
My wife has Zay Flowers, and all week I'm hearing about how somebody got her 0.6 fantasy points last week. I'm like, I know it's Zay Flowers. He's on my teams too. It's not been pretty. So you need Lamar to play better for Flowers to do well.
This will be an interesting weekend. Give us your, you can still text in your fantasy football questions to us, 573-875-KTGR for Play Fade Eliminate. We'll get some more of those after this live local sports center.
Now, your local sports center update on your total sports station, KTGR.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Hermes, and this live local sports center is brought to you by Lease Tire Company. It's around rubber. Lease sells it. LeaseTireCompany.com. Mizzou Women's Hoops is back in action from Mizzou Arena tonight as they host the Cal Bears in the ACC-SEC Challenge. The Tigers enter tonight's game with a record of 7-2 on the season, coming off back-to-back wins last weekend over Bradley and Northwestern, respectively. Cal enters the game with a 6-2 clip, coming off a loss to Auburn last Wednesday. Tip-off from Como is set for 8 o'clock right here on KTGR. The Kansas City Chiefs are preparing to take on the Houston Texans from Arrowhead Stadium this Sunday. According to the Chiefs injury report, offensive lineman Trey Smith and Jawan Taylor are both non-participants during today's practice with an ankle injury and knee injury, respectively. Cornerback Christian Roland Wallace was also a non-participant at today's practice due to a back injury. This weekend's matchup is slated for Sunday Night Football with kickoff at 7:20. And although National Signing Day for the class of 2026 was yesterday, Mizzou football was back on the recruiting trail today for the class of 2027. Braylon Warren, a quarterback from Omaha, Nebraska, committed to Mizzou earlier today, as first reported by Hayes Fawcett of Rivals. Warren listed as a 3-star recruit and is the number 29 rated quarterback in the class of 2027. Your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast is next.
I'm tracking another cold night on the way with low temperatures in the teens tomorrow morning. We bounce back to the upper 30s and low 40s in the afternoon with lots of sunshine to enjoy on Friday. Clouds start rolling in again on Saturday ahead of some wintry precipitation Saturday night into Sunday. We could see a mix of rain, freezing rain, or snow but amounts should be light and impacts will be low this weekend. I'm meteorologist Nate Splater, and that's your ABC 17 Storm Track forecast on your total sports station, KTGR.
This is the 2025 SEC Football Championship game.
And Alabama is headed to Atlanta again. Touchdown! Dogs are SEC champions.
Join us Saturday as the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Georgia Bulldogs vie for the SEC Championship.
And we are moments away. And as you might imagine, the energy level is super high.
Kickoff is at 3 on your home for SEC football.
Mid-Missouri's total sports station, KTGR.
Well, the holidays are going to be here before you know it, and so will the family visits, the gatherings, and all the stress that comes with them. If your to-do list around the house still hasn't been touched, call Bax Homeworks. Their handyman service can take care of those little fixes, updates, and projects you've been putting off. Don't worry, you're not the only one. But that way, you can focus on what really matters. Relieve the stress now. Visit BaxHomeworks.com or find them on Facebook. Bax Homeworks. Getting your to-do list done.
If you're fed up with promised promotions that never come through, or you simply feel overworked and underpaid, maybe it's time for a change. Make sure your job search starts at MidmoHires.com. There, you can browse lots of local companies hiring for their next superstar employee. Plus, these are local jobs, so you don't have to up and move your whole family just to find a job that you enjoy. If you're looking to move up the ladder, start looking at the job openings posted at MidmoHires.com. Great local companies hiring great local people. MidmoHires.com.
The warm scent of maple spiced coffee fills the air. And is that a hint of Caribbean rum? That must be Caldy's Coffee Highlander Grog Brewing. Our decadent maple spiced blend that's won fans nationwide. Loved for how it smells and for how it makes you feel. Each cup brings back the comfort of a classic coffee morning. Cozy, nostalgic, maple spiced coffee. Shop Caldy'sCoffee.com for your bag today. Also available in pods.
My name is Taylor, and I have had insurance with Phyllis Nichols and her team for over 9 years. One of my first and only auto claims for me personally came when we were on a long road trip, and I was maybe following a semi-truck a little too close, and we all know when those rocks pop up, crack your windshield. First thing I did the next day was call Phyllis. Phyllis handled the whole thing. She got us into, I think, one of the local vendors to replace our windshield, and within 24 hours, it was done, it was over, and made it a very seamless process.
Wishing you a season filled with the air is merrier when you get spirits rise, in fact they're soaring. Here to keep your fire roaring.
Happy holidays from Shangri-La Dispensaries. Shangri-La Dispensaries is paradise found. ShangriLaDispensaries.com.
We know exactly what you're not thinking about right now. Wiper blades. But now that you are, take a moment to think about how Rain-X is the #1 brand of wiper blades in America. Why? Because Rain-X thinks about wiper blades all the time. We obsess, so you don't have to. Simply install our blades and then think about literally anything else. So choose Rain-X, America's #1 wiper blades, and then go back to not thinking about wiper blades. Rain-X. Outsmart the elements.
If a Lenovo computer for your business is on your holiday list, don't shop around. Just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com. It's your last chance to get exclusive deals on the PCs you want for your business, like the ThinkPad X9 14 Aura Edition and Yoga 7i 2-in-1. So avoid all that shopping chaos and price comparing, and just go directly to the source, Lenovo.com, where PCs are up to 35% off. That's Lenovo.com.
Lenovo.
The best local sports talk around on your ride home. You've got The Big Show on KTGR.
Well, Amon-Ra's going to give it a go.
What a nightmare. I mean, what a total nightmare. In the final week of fantasy football regular season, I'm scrambling to change lineups. I think it's simple that you do play him because the Cowboys, as much as they have made improvements on defense, are wide receivers are still who gets the Cowboys. The Cowboys have allowed more touchdowns to the wide receiver position than any other team. By the way, second most is the Lions. So we're hoping for a lot of fun tonight down there in that game or out there. Home game for the Lions. Yeah, up there in Detroit.
Oh, yeah.
And so you play Amon-Ra St. Brown if he says he's ready to go, but like there's always that risk that he plays a little bit and then he, takes a hit or rolls up it on the ankle a little bit funny and then he's out again. But this is a nightmare. It's a nightmare for every single. So much for all those bonus bets.
Can't go Isaac. Can't go Isaac
gone.
Tesla tonight. Nope, none of that.
You can't start him. There's no way. If you thought he was going to be your answer as I'm going to be sneaky. No, not for DFS, not for fantasy, not for anything. Because his role is like maybe he'll catch a touchdown, but usually not. Like that's been his deal all year. And yep, this is right before the bell, starting the week on a bang here. But it should be a fun game tonight. Either way, like I'm hoping for some fireworks between these teams.
Should be very fun. Getting back to some of the texts that we had specifically about Mizzou, who should they go after in the portal? Steve texting in, what's the butterfly effect of investing in a run blocking O-line? Do all your pass catchers and pocket stout QBs hit the portal? No, I don't think so. I think you can go after both, and I don't think the decisions are dependent upon that. In fact, it would be better if you got offensive linemen that could really run block, and like if they can run block, then there should be
like they're good players.
Yeah, they're good at the position, and they should be able to pass block too. Theoretically, you can have complaints as to how it actually works all together, but like a good run game puts pressure off of the pass game, and so that would be a net benefit for quarterbacks or wide receivers or tight ends. And so like, and also like, I think it's more of personal decisions on how players feel like they're fitting into this offense themselves. So I think that's maybe a little too in the weeds, but look, Mizzou definitely needs to have the right formula, because just having an excellent run game right now is not enough for what they want to do. It's enough to have good seasons. They had another good season this year, but it's not enough to get to great.
Yeah, I agree with all that. And I am curious to see the way that they go about it. Like, I don't want to abandon the identity of really good defense, great run game. Like, that was a good identity to have, but you got to have a little bit more than that, I think, to get over the hump of 8-4, 8-4, 9-3. Like you got to have a pretty complete team across the board. And in this modern football, passing is a big part of the game, and Mizzou struggled to do it in a number of the games down the stretch.
So we'll see what it looks like in the portal going forward for Mizzou. As of now, the reports that we know about are that it's James Madison in the portal and Brenden Haygood, couple of guys on the offense that were skill players, but just never saw the time. Haygood was here for a season. James Madison was here for 2 seasons. And so I also kind of think about like, okay, on the offense, you like the running back room. If you can keep everybody around, that's best case scenario. O-line, you got to retool a little bit because you're going to lose some guys to graduation and probably the NFL. Quarterback could be its own question. Do you worry about the wide receiver room?
Do I worry about it? Attrition? Yeah, I mean, I think about it. I don't know that I would say I'm worried about it, but I do think it's going to be a thing. Because I think the question about the O-lineman, like, is there validity to the idea that if we're a run-style team, if I'm a wide receiver, that's not as interesting to me?
See, I don't know if that's part of most players' decision making.
At that position, though, that's the diva position. And I'm not naming names that there's one on this team. I'm just saying that, like, that's the position where you want to touch the football and you want to show how great you can be. And there will be 1 or 2 guys that are able to do that from that wide receiver room. But if the offense doesn't become a little more balanced or just capable throwing the football, and I'm a wide receiver on the team who I'm wondering what that's going to look like, yeah, that could cause me to at least like consider what the options would be. Coleman does not have eligibility. Is that accurate?
Yep.
He's done.
I don't think anybody else is done, though.
Alubade is the guy that I need to keep. Beyond that, like nothing would surprise me. You got to keep Donovan Alubade. He's the best player in that
think for sure. Do whatever you can to keep him around.
Love for Marquise Johnson to stay. I would not be one bit surprised if he decides to transfer. Just my 2 cents.
And like there are spots opening up, like they had Xavier Lloyd, who was a grad student this year. He played sparingly. was another transfer, but that's a spot opening up. And then really that's it as far as guys that played regularly losing eligibility.
So like in theory, Josh Manning is back and
Marquise Johnson, and then probably maybe there's a spot if you don't add anyone, there's a chance for a guy like Demarion Folks or Sean Terry after a true freshman season for both of them to rise up and potentially join the rotation.
Yeah, I'd see more out of Folks. He got injured, but he's got some juice, in the return game at least. We definitely saw it there.
Right. And I think we saw jet sweep, at least one jet sweep this year.
There was one, I think, yeah.
So, I mean, there's that. Daniel Blood's still around. I mean, I could see maybe one injection of production that you can rely upon, a good amount of snaps and catches.
And maybe more than one, because I think there will be transfers out at that
position.
Yeah,
for anyone that does transfer, then I think you add another. Yeah.
Which is fine. That's just the nature of the game. But I would think there will be some movement there. Keep Olubade. Please.
That's key.
Whatever
key,
you
man.
can do.
Very key.
Dude's going to be a star.
So we'll see what happens there. Let us know your thoughts on it as we continue to mull it over the next few weeks, what could happen for Mizzou in the transfer portal. And we thank you for joining us today. We'll talk to Rob Vino tomorrow. He's going to talk to a jurisdiction of legality, baby. Let's go. Join us at 4 o'clock tomorrow. Mizzou Women's Hoops at 7:45. We'll see you.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now.